Hello everyone, thanks for streaming with us. I'm Michelle, by my side is Ryan. We'll hold this webinar together. What we are looking for today will be more concentrated on linking up the supply and demand, exporters and manufacturers, countries' policy together. The idea doesn't aim to give so much information, but to check intelligence in a bigger picture perspective. So let's have a look at today's agenda. First of all, we'll talk about supply and demand as of August 2020. And second, we're going to introduce a few major exporters and manufacturers, also including their dynamics. And the third part that we're going to talk is about countries' policy. And then we'll come to interpretation of government policy to spur China pesticide export amid COVID-19 strike. And last part, we are going to mention about the price trend in H1 2020 and their market forecast.
Okay, thank you, Mr. H. Let's check the table for some popular products, supply and demand, and learn about some background about what happened in China pesticide market in 2019. Great revolutions were seen in China's pesticide industry in 2019. In regard of policy, the government launched stricter safety and environment protection policies as well as stricter management on pesticides, and the threshold of pesticide registration became higher. The product structure were optimized gradually. In the aspect of production research and development, China pesticide industry was switching from duplicate to independent research and development. Looking back to China's herbicide market in 2019, the used amount of herbicides such as pretilaclor, isoproterenol, 2,4-D, butylate, and atrazine had increased under the effort of some producers, but the fallback was seen in the herbicide market. As for fungicide market in 2019, the use of fungicide in China has increased due to the worst disease occurrence. In 2019, China's glyphosate technical shipment was scarce as a result of sluggish downstream demand, in spite of sufficient supply. Quite different from the blooming operating rate in H1, domestic glyphosate technical manufacturers carried out intermittent production in Q4 to guarantee their daily supply and control stock amounts. This condition will likely continue for a short term.
Here are 10 pesticides among the top exportations from China to global countries in 2019. And given that Brazil is a huge consuming market of pesticide, we have statistics of exports from China to Brazil as well. These are glyphosate, atrazine, pericol, just to name a few, that you can see specific export volume on the table. If we link up the export volume to domestic capacity and operating rate to compare with foreign supply, obviously, in aspect of these popular pesticides, China has contributed more outputs to the market share.
Now, let's have a look at the recent dynamics of some major manufacturers. According to the General Administration of Customs of People's Republic of China, (NCCN), Chinese main glyphosate exporters in 2019 include Fuhua Chongda Agrochemical Technology Company Limited, Nantong Jiangshan Agrochemicals and Chemicals Company Limited, and Shandong Weifan Rainbow Chemical Company Limited, which are also the manufacturers. Another reason for the industry's enthusiasm for glyphosate is that on December 30th, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs published a list of 192 plant varieties, including 189 cotton varieties, 2 corn varieties, and 1 soybean varieties, to be approved for the issue of agriculture GM biosafety certificates. It is estimated that if domestic corn and soybean use GM varieties, it is expected that the demand for glyphosate will increase by about 100,000 tons.
The global paraquat production capacity mainly attributes to Nanjing Red Sun, Syngenta, Shandong Lüba, Zhejiang Yangnong, and Salonda, etc. The sale and use of paraquat water-soluble gel will be prohibited from September 26, 2020 in China. The introduction of the policy has reduced the production capacity of Chinese enterprises successively, from more than 200,000 tons to about 100,000 tons. With a decreasing trend of demand, it is more appropriate to expect the global production capacity to be reduced to 60,000 tons. Main producers of 2,4-D mainly located in Shandong and Jiangsu province. Jiangxi Tianyu Chemical Company Limited's 2,4-D series of new projects passed the Environmental Impact Technology Review. Jiangxi Tianyu is one of the leading exporters of 2,4-D active ingredients.
Apparently, regulations and policies from some countries are tightening up for different pesticides. Those will affect the demands and supply for the whole industry. Let's have a look. Paraquat has been banned and restricted in more and more countries or regions around the globe in recent years. In H1 of 2020, the paraquat prohibition in Thailand, Malaysia, and Fiji had taken effect. In late June, the Secretariat of Environment and Natural Resources under Mexico's Environment Ministry announced that glyphosate-based herbicide will be phased out of use across the country by 2024, as scientific evidences are showing that glyphosate harms human health and the environment. Now, Mexico is working with the United States National Research Council to develop glyphosate substitutes in large-scale agricultural production.
Bans or restrictions for glyphosate use in various countries are constantly bringing forward. For Costa Rica, its national system of conservation area has banned the use of glyphosate herbicide in all protected wild areas in the country, as well as on all system of conservation areas or land. At this point, the pesticide is only available on prescription or in the state's agricultural sector. For Europe, the glyphosate license in the EU was renewed in 2017 to 15 December 2022. For Austria, it failed to implement a ban on glyphosate in late 2019. For Luxembourg, 1st February 2020, will rejoin the marketing authorization of plant protection products containing glyphosate, and until 30th June 2020, period for using up stocks granted, and until 31st December 2020, grace period for the glyphosate use by professional or private users, and a total ban on glyphosate. And for France, and the main uses of glyphosate by 2022 and all its uses by 2022. And for Germany, to ban glyphosate before 31st December 2023. For Vietnam, we join all registrations for glyphosate-based herbicides. Some pesticides have raised public health concerns and controversies. Different countries have issued regulations to ban or limit the usage. Here we represent a few ban and restriction regulations in some countries. If you are interested to know more information about pesticide ban and market development, please get subscribe our report, Research of Pesticide Supply and Demand in Foreign Market.
Following this banned policies in different countries, a string of policies to help enterprises tide over difficulties amid COVID-19. have been introduced in China. Shandong Province paid 58.02 billion yen in tax rebates in the first half of the year. In Jiangsu Province, 59,500 enterprises received export tax rebates. One of the pesticide companies has benefited from the tax rebates policy from January to July this year, and Dama Jinzhou handled export tax rebates of more than 52 million yen, which alleviated the financial pressure. One tax refund, more than 27 million yen, was reflected in account within 10 days. Overall, the government has also optimized services for companies and increased export tax rebates. Official data shows China granted export tax rebates or exemption worth 812.8 billion yen in the first half of the year to relieve the financial pressure on companies. Customs authorities will further simplify clearance procedures and cut logistics costs to optimize the business environment at ports in the second half of this year. The government will continue to improve the level of facilitation of customs clearance and railway port to serve the safe, stable, and high-quality development of China-Europe freight chain services.
With these policies put into effect and gradual recovery from COVID-19, we have visualized in the agriculture sector, summer grain output increased by nearly 1% compared with 2019. Industrial production too has rebounded, and the Purchasing Managers Index has been above 50%, which indicates expansion for 4 months in a row. In terms of foreign trade, major economies are expected to see their foreign trade volume slump by about 11% this year, according to IMF estimates, while China's trade volume dipped by only 3% in the first half. And since China has a significant trade surplus, even if its foreign trade continues to slip in the second half, it can still have a whole year surplus. For some years, the Chinese economy has been relying on 3 pillars: consumption, investment, and exports for growth, with consumption having played a leading role. The pandemic has changed the situation. Now, exports are expected to contribute more to economic growth, and domestic economy circulation and international economy circulation could develop in tandem. In the short term, the international economy circulation may play a bigger role, but from a long-term perspective, China has to rely on the huge domestic market. So for any companies which are export-oriented, you should pay close attention to the government policy change.
Exactly. Back to the pesticide products we discussed. The COVID-19 outbreak restricted the production and logistics of Chinese glyphosate technical producers in Q1, decreasing their average operating rate to less than 60%. As a result, average figures reported were below 70% for H1. Despite suffering from the COVID-19 crisis in H1, operating rates for domestic glyphosate technical rose overall compared to the year earlier. Growth in downstream demand was the main factor. However, this trend turned downward in late June. Order amount fell dramatically in early July. Operating rates are predicted to drop between July and August, with some producers even suspending production for overhauls. In H1, supplies of glycine and phosphorus trichlorides remained stable in China, with prices fluctuating mildly but stabilizing overall. Atrazine, paraquat, chlorothalonium is in weak demand now, and it's estimated the price will not witness all this increase in the short term. It is believed the price of those products will keep relatively stable with slight decrease in the near future.
Well, the above information was aggregated from CCM research and partial analysis from our upcoming publications. Apart from China agrochemical market, we suffered in the global pesticide market research in shape of foreign reports. Please contact us for more information. First report is global demand for pesticide in 2015 to 2019. And second one, global crop planting in 2015 to 2019. And third one, global guide of coming of patent agrochemical active ingredients. You can find some information about any pesticide products, new registration, or for those whose patent is going to coming off, you can check our report for this information. And on top of those, our CCM global monitoring platform has been launched online. If you want to know about the agriculture information like pesticide registration, crop planting, pest and disease, consumption in other countries apart from China, please get a subscription on CCM global monitoring platform. Welcome to contact us for details. We'll wrap up here today. Thank you for all your participation. Bye.
Bye.